108. Javon says it's gonna work better if I use this one as my bag. Oh, got it! Bro, I got it! It's Sunday morning right now. We were about to lift. Now, Javon and I were kind of talking. For today's video, I want to do something a little different. It will be sort of like a vlog, I guess, but we want to go more instructional. So instead of doing a nice edit, what we're going to do is we're about to plan out back and bis instructional video. Actually going to do back, bicep, and a little bit of shoulder work. And so I'm picking 3 exercises for back, 2 for bicep, 2 for shoulder, and I'm going to literally everything I've accumulated over my years of training, everything, tips I've heard here and there, things that work for me through trial and error, I'm going to let it out and hopefully be able to give you guys some tips going into when you're hitting your back, biceps, or shoulders. So that's the goal. Currently I'm taking pre-workout, so I've got 1 scoop of Hemavol, that's my pump product, and I'm using Achieve from moresupplements.com as my pre-workout. Should do 1 scoop. And if you guys are interested in the Achieve, you can use my discount code in the description box. I promise you guys that it is an incredible product, honestly. So, and tastes really good. So that's that. I'm gonna work on we're gonna like write out what points I want to hit per each exercise. So Javon can like, what's the reason? So you can film.
Yeah, just so we can have, just have a more clear understanding of like what we need to film and like how we need to just kind of format the video, just to show you guys and give you like the details of what he's talking about, so you can like visually see like what he means more than just like hear it and just kind of be able to see it.
Heck yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's like, I was making an analogy. It's like painting a picture with proper, never mind.
Yeah, with
you have your focal point.
brushes.
Here's an art reference. You have your focal point, right? So everything that you draw has to lead to that focal point, right? So if my information is a focal point, the tips, we have to lead the camera work into describing that focal point.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Art. High school art. Boom. Here we go. Alright guys, we're here, got my notepad, and I'm ready to jump right into this. I'm going to try to give you as much information as I possibly can efficiently. So here we go. The first exercise that we performed today was the lat pull down. So all the tips I'm about to tell you can go for a lat pull down, they can go for a close grip pull down, or even a pull up. So just take what I'm saying and know that you can apply them to more than just one single variation of an exercise, all right? So the first tip I want to give you guys is retract your scapula. All that means, in order to, how do you do it? Okay, you want to shrug up, you come back, and then that's going to be your locked in position. So anytime I bring the bar down, I bring the bar, and then as I hold the bar, I focus on shrugging up, coming back, and retracting my scapula. All that's going to do is keep the tension on your lats, and it's going to keep your tension on the lats, pretty much. You don't want to come here and then let go and lose that tension. And so that's why I like to retract my scapula. Tip number 2 is going to be your grip. Anytime you're working your back, it's really easy to grip really hard, start involving your forearms, start involving your biceps, but our main focus here is working on the lats, building the width of your back, and activating your lats like they're supposed to be activated. So I like to actually hook over a hook grip, pretty much. So I put my fingers over the bar, and also I include my thumb over the bar. So all 5 of my fingers are over the bar, which allows me less activation with my forearm and bicep. You might have to go a little bit lighter if you decide to do this versus keeping your thumb under, but I guarantee you guys that if you can work on your mind-muscle connection and focus on pulling with your elbow, that's also very important. You want to come and literally look, you don't have to look at your elbow, but think, pull the elbow back, 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 contract the lat, and squeeze. So pulling with the elbow is going to allow you to activate your lat or your back in the most efficient way. Next tip I want to talk about is something that I can sort of go, I'm going to tell you guys a lot right now at the beginning so I don't have to repeat it later on, but your breathing is so crucial, guys. Anytime you exert your force, right, so if you're on a bench press, anytime you push that weight up, or anytime if you're doing a back movement that you pull the weight down, you want to breathe out, you want to exhale. So, for example, on this pull down or pull up, whatever you're doing, breathe out as you come down, you exhale, breathe in as you go up, control the weight, breathe out, inhale, exhale, inhale. And that really goes for all movements in general, guys. And so that's a sort of standard that I want to talk about. And now let's move on to the second movement, the T-bar row. If you want to think very generally, you can think pull down motion, you're going to bring up the width of your back, the width. And if you're thinking row, you can think thickness, okay? So again, that doesn't go in all instances, but that is a very general way to sort of think about it. So T-bar row, I'm sort of cheating on my notes here. You want to keep your back and your head neutral. So a lot of times you're going to see guys, I'm getting at this angle so you can see, you're going to see guys here, and then as they're pulling the weight, they're going like this, pulling the weight. Look at that neck right here. You want to be sure you're keeping your head neutral, aligned with your spine, right here. Pulling up with the elbow once again. And also another tip on this is you want to stay on your heel. So if you're bent over, you want to stay on the heel, and that's going to allow you to pretty much be in the proper position. If you're on your toes, you're going to be leaning forward. You want to stay on your heel. You're on your heel, so your back and your weight's distributed on your back. Pull up with the elbow, keep the head neutral. And another thing is I do like to use my belt on these. Depending on how heavy I'm going, you don't have to at all. A lot of times I'll perform without a belt. Sometimes I will throw on a belt just to keep my core nice and tight, and that way I can literally just focus on coming up and squeezing my upper back. So next movement let's talk about is the final movement of the day, a dumbbell row. Now keep in mind guys, my split right now, I'm doing a lot of frequency. So there's nothing wrong with, I'm only doing 3 back movements here. There's nothing wrong with doing 5 or 6 back movements depending on your split. Right now I'm working with my split, so that's why we're only doing 3 movements. But the dumbbell row is a unilateral movement, meaning you're only using one arm at a time. If you look at the last 2 movements, you see we're using both arms at the same time. So it's good to always, in my opinion, incorporate something unilateral so you can be sure you really isolate one lat at a time. You're focused on feeling each lat activate so you can be nice, proportional, and get the most out of your training. Tips on dumbbell row. I like to actually put my hand on the dumbbells. You can put your hand on a bench if you want, something to stabilize you. Again, that's going to be to minimize your core involvement so you can literally focus on working what you're trying to work your back, and get the most out of the movement, okay? So you want to bend over to where your back is almost parallel to the ground, literally parallel to the ground. You want to stagger your foot. So whatever arm you're going to work, so you're going to do your right arm, you want to stagger your right foot backwards just a little bit. Be sure you can get a full range of motion. Another thing on the pull down or the dumbbell row is you want to pull up and back at the same time. So check this out. If you're here, you don't want to just pull up like this. You want to pull up and back to get a fuller range of motion for your lat. So those are the tips for the dumbbell row. And now moving on to the biceps, the guns. If you want the guns that hug the sleeves, what are the other ones? Make them go to their knees. Shout out to Chris Jones. Love you, bro. Dumbbell curl. So I always like to start in a neutral position. As I come up, I like to supinate my wrist. So up here, supinating just means palm facing up. So I supinate like this and curl. Now, a very important thing about the curl. If you guys look at my bicep right here. Okay, look at what happens if I'm here. My bicep's activating. Now look, when you're rotating like that, your bicep also activates. So that's why it's so important to also come up and also twist to get the most out of the motion. So I like to actually choke up on the dumbbell. So I'll literally grab the top half of the dumbbell, not right and centered, choke up on the dumbbell. And the reason being, when I'm curling up, I focus on twisting my pinky outwards. Now keep in mind, if I'm choked up on the dumbbell over here, that means there's slightly more weight distribution on this side. So it's harder for me to twist that pinky up, and there's more tension on my biceps. So you want to twist the pinky up. You want to keep your arms in line with your hip. So you don't want to be up here. You don't want to be out here. You want to keep everything right here, nice and tight. You want to flex your tricep at the bottom of the motion. When you flex your tricep, that means this bicep is fully extended. You don't want to go down to here, I'm not fully extended. You're not fully extended until you actually flex your tricep, and that's full extension. It's a full range of motion. And those are my tips on the dumbbell curl. You can do, one arm at a time. You can do variations of doing both arms at the same time. And yeah, moving on to the next movement, we have a reverse grip curl. So tips on the reverse curl. I decided to use a cable. You can use an easy curl bar if you want, or even a straight bar. But I personally like to put my thumb over the bar. I feel it a little bit more. I feel my muscle, my brachioradialis activate just a bit more. There's nothing wrong with going under as well. You'll actually be able to go a little bit heavier if you're going under, but I prefer to lighten the weight up, put my thumb over the bar. As soon as I pick up the cable from the bottom, I literally pick it up, get my elbows in place, and they do not move, guys. I keep my elbows there for the entire set. So very similar to the dumbbell curl, you want to flex your tricep at the bottom of the movement. I like to put my thumbs over like I just said, come up, squeeze, come all the way down, get a full extension, flex the tricep, and those are my tips with the reverse grip curl. Moving on to shoulders. So today I decided to do 3 back movements, 2 bicep, and 2 shoulders. So side laterals are my personal favorite opinion for anything from the lateral delt, the side delt over here, this cap that you have. And with the side delt, with the lateral movement, I like to use dumbbells. I switch it up with cables. I switch it up with the side lateral machine. But the main tip I want you guys to take away is bringing the elbows higher than the wrists. So I know that might sound sort of elbows higher than the wrists, all right, but if you really think about it, you pull up with your elbow. Pulling up with the elbow is going to help activate your side delt a little bit more versus pulling up with your hand. So you want to bring this up, and your elbow, the plane of your elbow, is always higher than your wrist. So you don't want to be up here. You want to be right here, pulling up through that elbow and feeling that activation here in your side delt. I like to go rep ranges on side laterals pretty consistent. I know I haven't talked much about that, but things do vary. But with side laterals, I would say I always stay within that 12 to 15 or 10 to 15 sort of rep range. I do like to bring the dumbbells in front of me, so that's sort of the starting point. I put them right in front of me, not by my sides, and I come up with the elbows and perform the movement. Another thing, be sure you're not swaying too much, guys. It's easy to get kind of carried away, and instead of picking up the 10s, 15s, 20, you want to pick up the 30, 35s, and 40s, and you want to get more of a sway and everything. But really, if you're literally just trying to focus on hypertrophy and building muscle, don't be afraid of using a weight. Don't let your ego stop you from reaching optimal results. And so lighten it up, put your elbows in front, control the weight, don't swing, and you're going to see far better results. So the final movement of the day was a rear delt fly, and with the rear delt fly today I decided to use a dumbbell. One thing about the rear delt fly is I like to bend my knees, come down, not parallel necessarily, but pretty close to parallel. I would say, what angle? Like I'm not here, but I'm like here. 100 degree angle? That's 90. 100.
Oh, I was thinking of like this being your 90. That being your 100. You know what I mean? Like, this is your back. That's what I was thinking.
Oh. Yeah.
Just
okay.
say a little more obtuse than 90.
A little. Keep rolling. Is it still rolling? Yeah. Anyway, guys, if this is if this is the floor, your back's here, you're bending down. I don't like to go all the way down to here. I say about right here is what we're trying to say. And with that said, keeping the head neutral, extremely important. You don't want to be here and just like looking straight up like that and keep that. You don't want that on your neck. You want to be neutral. You want to keep your core tight, flex your abs, and you don't use a belt on this, guys. Don't use a belt. Just flex your core, tighten up your core, keep it tight, and I said tight like 3 times. And you want to come up again, pull with the elbow. You want to feel your rear delt contracting. You're going to feel a little bit of trap. Primarily focus on bringing up your delt. You might have to lighten the load even more to really focus on getting that delt instead of the traps. The traps are going to want to take over the movement, but don't let it. If you can probably honestly grab like 50s and start doing that motion, but in my opinion, lighten it up, isolate the movement or the muscle group that you want to work, and you will be golden. So just went over 7 exercises. Hopefully it wasn't too long, but I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully you took something away that you can apply to your own training. And training in general, guys, it's all about becoming most efficient. Your time is valuable. You don't want to spend hours and hours and hours in the gym every day when you could narrow it down, make everything more efficient, optimize things, and you don't want to waste your time. So that's really what it boils down to. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Oh, good. Man, my heart rate gets up when I'm talking like that. You guys like when it's like teacher? I'm gonna start a new series pretty soon.
Oh yeah.
101.
What,
Schools in session.
Oh, schools in session.
Javon knows what that's gonna be.
Yeah.
So none of you better start a series called Schools in Session yet. We out.
You're still here.
When it beeps, you're going max speed. Yeah. Look at this cinematic shot. That wasn't cinematic at all.
I'm gonna dunk it. I'm gonna dunk it. I'm gonna dunk it. I'm not gonna dunk it. Oh.
If I can make this shot with one hand, you guys have to like this video. Oh! I swear that was like a one take.
What? I swear that was a one take.
I can do it again. If I make the second one, you have to go and like my previous video. And I'm on a hoverboard.
Touchdown. Oh, almost ran into that. Going deep.
Go deep.
Going deep.
3, 2. A spiral though.
Oh! Bro, I'm so scared I was gonna run into the table.
All right, here, do me.
Okay, no.
Right, yeah. Here we go.
Touchdown!